Oak Bay, Gordon Head.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, vast amounts of money are flowing from fossil fuel companies to both the BC Liberals and, to a much lesser extent, mind you, the BC NDP. Between 2008 and 2015, 48 fossil fuel companies and industry groups donated $5.2 million to the government and official opposition and reported more than 22,000 lobbying contacts with public officials between 2010 and 2016. With 7 of the top donors also ranking among the most active lobbyists, there is a substantial overlap between those who give money and those who get meetings. To further that, Honourable Speaker, 28% of lobbying by the top 10 most active lobbyists has been directly with cabinet ministers, an unrivaled level of access, and the Minister of Natural Gas Development is the most targeted member in the entire legislature. In light of this, Honourable Speaker, my question for you to the Honourable Speaker, through the Minister of Justice, is this: how does the government expect the public to trust that their interests are being protected and that these practices are not buying lobbyists and their clients special treatment?
Madam Attorney.
Madam Speaker, it may be that the member was not here yesterday to know that we actually established the first ever lobbyist registry in 2002 to establish transparency so British Columbians can see who is doing the lobbying. There never was a registry before that. After some years of experience with that registry, we updated it in 2009, creating one of the strongest regimes for lobbyist registration in Canada. The updates increased the registrar's powers and duties, so the lobbyist registrar now has the power to conduct investigations, to compel testimony, and to compel documents. In other words, the lobbyist registrar has the tools that he or she needs in order to make sure that the registry is conducted properly and that the lobbyists are conducting themselves in accordance with the rules, which is what I expect, which is what we expect as a government.
Thank you, Minister. Oak Bay, Gordon Head on a supplemental.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I'm glad the Minister talked about the lobbying registry because, frankly, we are one of the weaker in the province, in the country of Canada. BC lacks rules to regulate lobbying practices and ensure transparency. We know that extensive lobbying is ongoing in BC, but we have no code of conduct for lobbyists. Moreover, we have no requirement in BC for lobbyists to register actual meetings with public office holders. All they have to do is register who they plan to lobby. Other jurisdictions, Honourable Speaker, in Canada have much stricter standards. And it's clear to me, with our rampant cash for access system and allegations that lobbyists are engaging in illegal donation practices on behalf of their clients, largely to the BC Liberals, but also to the BC NDP, that we need much more stringent rules. We need standards against which the public can hold lobbyists and their contacts in the government to account. My question, Honourable Speaker, through you to the Minister of Justice, is will the Minister commit to transparency on lobbying practices, including requiring lobbyists to report on actual meetings held with government officials and creating a code of conduct for lobbyists?
Madam Attorney.
Madam Speaker, the matter that the member referred to about contributions is very clearly, if that were to happen, a breach not of the Lobbyist Act but of the Election Act. And the Election Act in section 186(2)(b) says that an individual may make a political contribution with the money of another individual, but must disclose to the individual required to record the contribution under section 190. In other words, you can make a payment on behalf of a third party, but the third party must be disclosed. It must be very clear that it is that third party's money which has gone to the payment. That is a breach of the Election Act, Madam Speaker. It is very clearly a breach if that is conducted, and I think that that's the conduct the member is referring to. Back to the Lobbying Act itself, the 2009 updates to the Act put very strict and significant penalties into that Act for breaches of the Act.